failed. I made a goal of going live every day this month, and I didn't go live yesterday. I didn't do it. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm allowed to do this imperfectly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I'm here today and I'm back. And there was a time in my life when I would have been like, well, now I gotta just end it and I can't ever do it again. And instead, I just get to be like, you know what? I didn't do it yesterday and I'm coming back here today. Hello, puppies. Hello, Mr. Stanley. Hello, Maggie. I know you guys like it when I go on the air here. On Threads over the past few days, our favorite librarian, our favorite reading rainbow dude, Mychal, he posted some thoughts and some threads about unaliving himself, and it got a lot of attention, and it got a lot of what shouldn't have surprised me because it's the internet, but did. I know, Maggie. The internet can be so mean sometimes. Is he got a lot of pushback that he should not have shared those thoughts and that it wasn't responsible, and people really went out of their way to make his life harder. And I just think that's so unfair for so many reasons. There's, a racial component to it, certainly. But there's also just a fundamental misunderstanding of what we call suicidal ideations, which are thoughts that you shouldn't be alive and ways that you can not be alive anymore. And I wanted to have a conversation about that on my threads as someone who has suffered from these thoughts for most of my life and has been public about it as a survival mechanism. But also, while this experience is not healthy, it is very common and it is very normal for a certain type of brain. And if we don't talk about it, people die. Okay. So I wanted to talk about my association to it, my experience with it, what helps me. And if you would like to chime in the comments and say what helps you, you are more than welcome to. I know people are always posting, this is the phone number to call if you feel this way. I have never called one of those numbers. So I will post in the comments access to those numbers if that's something that would be useful for you. But I've not had experience with it, so I won't speak to the efficacy of that service. But I want to say, suicidal ideations are something that happens to very sensitive people who have often experienced trauma. And it causes your brain to tune into, the way I think of it is it's like a radio station that you tune into. Unfortunately, you don't have any control over it. It's just all of a sudden this radio station gets turned up really loud. And it's like all you can think about. And I had the gift of someone tell me early on in my experience with this in my early 20s, this is not something you get rid of. This is something you learn how to manage. And that helped me so much because it gave me a freedom from feeling like I have to do something to eliminate these thoughts. And the reality is I don't want to have these thoughts, but they're there. And just like any thoughts, they're there to be dealt with. And no thoughts are true, right? Whether they're good thoughts or bad thoughts, no thoughts are actually true. They just kind of, exist in here. And if you're very sensitive, a lot of the thoughts aren't even yours. They're just kind of floating by and your brain latches onto them if you're a very sensitive person. So I explain it this way, that it's like a radio station, because we'll often see rashes of people unaliving themselves. Just all of a sudden, so many people, it seems like it's like a season to it. And it's like an energetic storm that passes through, where when those thoughts get louder and louder and louder, if you don't have a support system and a plan for how to deal with it, then you end up in unaliving yourself, which I don't want for you. I don't want that for me. I'm not having a mental health crisis right now. Okay, you don't need to worry about me. But this is something that I have learned how to deal with over decades of having these thoughts and this radio station in my head. So I describe it like this for anyone who has had this experience. You know what I'm talking about, right? All of a sudden, these thoughts come in, and it's like it's there's nothing rational about it. There's nothing logical about it, but it's really hard to resist. And the thing you have to do is tell people. You have to tell someone else, I'm having these thoughts, and that's where calling, a suicide hotline can be helpful. What I do is I keep a list in my phone of 10 people who I trust to understand what I'm going through. Not people who are going to freak out and call an ambulance on me, but people who are going to say, "All right, tell me what's going on." And I will walk them through like the images and what's happening to me. And just by telling someone else, it helps me to see, okay, these are not my thoughts. This is not something that I need to listen to. This is something that I can learn how to turn the volume down. And I don't need to, a lot of people turn to addictive substances in order to get rid of it, right? And I'm just like, no judgment here, whatever you need to do to get through the day. But for me, having a list in my phone of 10 people that I can text and say, help me, at least one of those people is going to be available at any time of day. And I'm very fortunate. I have a global community I've cultivated on purpose, people around the world in different time zones who someone's going to be awake, someone's going to be available to call me and to say, Morgan, tell me what's going on. And I'm so grateful to that. I'm so grateful to those people who I can call and I can say, I'm having the hard thoughts, and they'll say, okay, tell me about it. And it won't freak them out, because the hardest part is for me is that it feels like now I'm going to be burdening someone else with these thoughts. And the reality is I have had people, I am on people's lists, and they call me and say I'm having the hard thoughts. And it is not a burden for me to take those calls and to reach out and to say, tell me what's going on. It is not a burden. In fact, it is an honor. It is a sacred honor to be trusted with that information and to be able to offer a resource. And often the resource is just listening. Often the resource is just saying, tell me those thoughts so we can know that they aren't real, so that we can see them for the lie that they are, and so that we can discuss what you're going to do to be really gentle with yourself and just to get through today. All you have to do, one of my besties tells me, Morgan, all you have to do is get to the end of today, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. And it's so much of these thoughts can feel situational. Like they'll fill your brain with lies of like all the just lists and lists of reasons why you shouldn't be here. And all of those thoughts are lies, because if you wake up in the morning breathing, there is a reason you should be here. I'm going to start crying now because I had a friend when I was 19 years old. Her name was Susie. You can Google her, Susie Gonzalez. And she called me and she said, Morgan, I don't want to be alive anymore. And I told her what I just said. I said, Susie, if you wake up in the morning and you're breathing, you got to trust that there's a reason that you are alive. And she didn't make it. And if you Google her name, you'll see her story. I'm not going to share the details of her story here because I don't want to give anyone any ideas. But she became famous for how she ended her life. And her parents went on Oprah to talk about it, and it became a whole thing. And it's one of the things that has been really hard for me to forgive myself for, that I couldn't help her. I couldn't help her. No one could, I guess. She was seeing a therapist. She had just started on antidepressants. And of course, we now know, especially for young people, antidepressants sometimes have the opposite effect. And if she had just held on for a few more months and worked with her psychiatrist, maybe she would have found the combination of life skills and medications that would have helped her stay alive. But she didn't. And that was over 20 years ago. And I'm still grieving it. She was so special. When she was, let me tell a good story in her memory, in her honor. When she was 16 years old, she made a zine back at Zine. I don't know if you guys will be old enough to know what a zine was, but you would like make a zine and you would like copy it out on like a Xerox machine and then hand it out. She made a zine and then she made herself a media pass for that zine. Just like I'm with the media for this zine. I can't remember what her zine was called. And then she would get herself into punk rock shows with her media pass as an underage like reporter, essentially. And then she would write about her experience at the shows. And she just had like, what a spirit. What a spirit just to even have that idea at that age, 16 years old, to be like, I want to go see these punk rock concerts, but like they won't let me in because I'm underage. I'm going to go in as a journalist. I'm going to make my own media and I'm going to go out into the world and just talk my way into these places as a journalist. What a bright light to have lost in this world. So on my threads, when I saw that the Reading Rainbow dude, Mychal, was talking about, hey, if it's my last day on earth, it was, nice to know you, whatever his first thread was. And so many people were, concerned and reaching out to him. And then he got a lot of pushback about like, you shouldn't be sharing this stuff publicly. And I disagree completely. I am so grateful that he shared that publicly so that we can have a conversation about the reality that while these thoughts are not healthy, there is a certain type of brain where it is normal to have these thoughts. It is not normal to listen to them. It is not normal to do what these thoughts tell you to do. It is a sign that you need to tell someone, you need to ask for help. Okay? I am someone who's had chronic depression since I was a teenager, stemming from early childhood abuse. That's how I tuned into this radio station, that I can hear it. I can hear when it gets loud. And I know that it's time to reach out to my friends who also have tuned into that radio station to say, hey, like, how are you doing? How are those thoughts? Are they coming back? Are they loud? Let's talk about it. Tell me what they're telling you. Let's get it out. Get it out of your head and then go do the things that you know you need to do to take care of yourself. And I've talked about this on my earlier live videos of the things that I need to do every day to take care of myself, which is I need to move my body. I need to practice yoga. I need to ski. I need to be out in nature. I need to do some breath work. I need to breathe in and out in a deliberate way. Chanting has been very helpful for me. Chanting helps move, chanting mantra helps move energy through my body. I'm a yoga teacher. I've been teaching yoga for over 15 years. And so chanting mantra, especially Om Namah Shivaya, honoring the rebirth process, right, helps me to remember that, like, I came here to live. I came here to live. I didn't come here not to live. I came here to live, even when my thoughts are telling me not to. I need to talk to my community. I need to talk to my friends every single day. I need to reach out to my besties every single day. I need to be out in the world. And there are some days when the depression is like, you should stay in bed all day. And every once in a while I do, but most of the time now I can force myself to get out at the very least and just like look at trees and just look at the trees and let the trees know what's going on. Having dogs in my life really helps me. Having animals in my life really helps me. The unconditional love of animals. I don't have a dog right now. I'm dog sitting. This is Maggie May, Maggie girl. But having animals to take care of, having something to take care of, a routine really helps me. Eating good food, feeding myself, drinking enough water. I know these sound like very basic things, but when you're depressed, you don't do it. You don't eat well enough. You don't drink enough water. You're not taking care of yourself. The depression won't let you. Water really helps me, not drinking water, obviously, but taking showers or getting out in pools of water in nature really helps me move through these moments. Screaming really helps me. Love a good scream. Just love it. Especially watching the patriarchy burn. Just love screaming about it. Dancing, moving my body somehow, just to like move the energy through me. These are all the things that help me. Journaling sometimes helps. Gratitude journaling really helps, even if it's like a fake it till you make it situation. Um, I'm like, some days I'm just like, well, I guess I'm grateful for dogs. I'm grateful dogs exist to teach us what unconditional love is. I guess I'm grateful that, the sky is blue. And some days I get to get really juicy with it. Some days I get to be so grateful that I built an amazing business as a business coach, as a healer, as a yoga teacher, that I get to take people who are in the hardest moments of their life and give them resources and help them heal their bodies, heal their minds, heal their spirits, and help them connect to their purpose and help them make a lot of money from it. It's one of my favorite things to do as a business coach, is helping healers make a lot of money doing their healing work. Having a sense of purpose makes a huge difference for when you're battling chronic depression and thoughts of unaliving yourself. Um, what else helps? What else helps me? Is that enough? That's a lot of things. That's a lot of things. But truly, having a list in your phone that you can reference and text those people individually the word help and let them know what you're doing, right? Like, ask their permission, ask their consent for it to be one of your people. Knowing that one of those people will reach out to you. And if you really don't have anyone, you got to hire a therapist, or this is when you call a hotline and say what's going on. And those people are trained professionals to help you through it. And if you have any other suggestions, I invite you to put them in the comments, because no one gets through this world alone, even though it feels that way sometimes. It's really easy to feel alone in this world. No one gets through it without help. And the trick to succeeding in this world is knowing who to ask for help. And I can be one of those people for you. You can reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram. You can DM me. I will give you, reach out to me personally. I will give you my Google Voice phone number that you can text, and you can trust me to have the boundaries, not to protect my own energy. But like, the point is to let someone know if you're having these thoughts, so that we can come and support you. And to Mychal, our reading rainbow dude, our favorite librarian, I'm so glad he's here another day. I'm so grateful that he made it through another day, because I know how fucking hard it is in this world when you are a sensitive soul and those thoughts are just hammering at you, and those thoughts feel so real, and they are not real. Those thoughts are not true. No thoughts are true. They don't exist. They're just in your head. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you all have a beautiful day. I hope you get to wake up tomorrow and take a deep breath and and just acknowledge that if you woke up and you're breathing, there's a reason for it, and it's worth it to find out what that reason is. And it might just be to snuggle a doggy. Sometimes that needs to be enough. Okay? Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Good night.